Now, this morning we're talking about children's safety online, something we discuss a lot here on Five Live as we move towards the Online Safety Act coming into law. I've been speaking exclusively to Giles Derrington, a senior government relations advisor at TikTok, about all sorts of issues, including age verification and how they moderate and take down harmful posts. We had a big chunk of time with him for Safer Internet Day, and we played more of that interview a bit earlier in the show. So if you want to hear it, do go back and listen on BBC Sounds. But we're going to focus on one bit of the conversation here, because I also asked him about the legal action being taken by a group of British parents who are suing TikTok in the US following their children's deaths. This is the families of Isaac Kenevan, Archie Battersby, Jules Sweeney and Maya Walsh, who believe that they died while attempting the so-called blackout challenge. That was a viral trend that circulated online back in 2022. I asked him about this case and why some parents have concerns about the safety of their children on apps like TikTok.
It's an ongoing legal case, so I won't go into the specifics, but these are parents who have been through something unfathomably tragic, and I have young kids myself, and I can only imagine how much they want to get answers, want to understand what's happened. I think we've had conversations with some of those parents already to try and help them in that. More generally, the case here refers to something called the Blackout Challenge, which is a specific harm which predates TikTok, and we have never found any evidence that the Blackout Challenge has been trending on the platform, and indeed since 2020 have completely banned even being able to search for the words Blackout Challenge or variants of it to try and make sure that no one is coming across that kind of content. Candidly, we don't want anything like that on the platform. We know users don't want it either. And so, this is a really, really tragic situation, but we're trying to make sure that we're constantly doing everything we can to make sure that people are safe on TikTok.
And given that you've been in contact with some of those parents, I know a number of them have asked for access to their children's accounts. Why is it that you can't give that to them?
This is really complicated stuff because it relates to the legal requirements around when we remove data, and we have under data protection laws, requirements to remove data quite quickly. That impacts on what we can do. We always want to do everything we can to give anyone answers on these kind of issues. But there are some things which simply we don't have. Are
you saying you don't have a record of their accounts anymore or the content of them?
So I'm saying these are complex situations where requirements to remove data can impact on what is available. And that is just the way that the law on data protection butts up against some of these things. When things have been deleted from the platform, everyone would expect that when we are required by law to delete some data, we will have deleted it. So, this is a more complicated situation than just us having something that we're not giving access to. And obviously it's really important that case plays out as it should and that people get as many answers as are available.
Well, we can talk now to one of the parents involved in this legal action. Ellen Room is the mum of Jules Sweeney, who was 14 when he died in 2022. Morning, Ellen.
Morning.
I know it's probably been a really challenging couple of days for you and for the other families involved in this. So just for those who don't know Jules' story, do you want to share with us however much you would like to about the circumstances of his death?
Jules was 14 when he took his own life. Offline, there was no record of any reason why he should. The police couldn't find any sign of any bullying. He had no issues at school. He had plenty of friends. There was just no reason. And one day I came home to find him not breathing. And the only thing that we haven't looked at is social media. And I've been campaigning around this for a long time, that parents should have the right to see their deceased children's data for possible answers. And I always said at the beginning that we had, we just didn't know, and it could be social media. But the more and more we've looked into it, and we've now got 4 parents who all died within a very short space of time of each other in very similar circumstances. Without going into the details, there's vast similarities, and we want answers.
So you think there must be a connection, maybe in relation to something that they had viewed, some content they'd come across online?
Yes, and our lawyers made that connection and put that to TikTok. So it'll be interesting to see what data they might have deleted. And it seems very convenient for 4 of our children that they might have deleted any record of anything that might be of help to us for answers.
Laura is Isaac's mum. So as you heard there, Giles Derrington said there has been contact with the families. They know about your requests. He says it's really complicated, that was his phrase, when it comes to retrieving this data because they had an obligation to remove data quickly. Now, I don't know specifically whether this relates to the sort of 30-day rule when an account becomes deactivated, that all that data is then deleted. And it may be then that your request to see it came after that event.
Jules's account hasn't been deactivated. They've told me they've preserved it.
Right.
So it hasn't been deactivated. And so I had a meeting with YouTube the other day, and I asked them their policy on it. And I said, when you remove data, do you have a record of what you delete? So it's deleted from the platform. And they said, absolutely, we have a record so that the system can research it so it doesn't reappear. So I don't believe that TikTok have just removed it. And yes, maybe I can't see it. Well, I can no longer log into Jules's accounts. They've done something at their end. So when they've removed it, do they have a record of what they removed so they can look for it again?
Yeah,
I'm pretty certain they probably would.
When I asked a bit more specifically what information that they had kept or didn't keep around Jules's account, he couldn't say specifically, or he didn't want to, or felt he wasn't legally able to. So what kind of further efforts are you going to then now to try to get to the bottom of this?
I've gone round the houses with every angle about how I can possibly get answers. And the only answer we now have is to go to the US, which has a different legal system, and hope that we get to discovery stage where social media companies will have to release any data. Not this, we might have deleted it. Anything they hold on our children will have to be released. And that is only fair that we then see exactly what our children are seeing. On your BBC programme on BBC One this morning, they mentioned that Samaritans said that a quarter of all children under 20 who have taken their lives is because of seeing harmful suicide material online. A quarter. That's 1 in 4. Well, we've got 4 children between us. So what have they seen? And all we want is answers. And we're trying to help. Well, I haven't spoken to TikTok since last year when I had a Zoom with them, and they said they might have deleted something. They couldn't confirm what. They've never offered it to me. Without having a court order, I can't obtain anything. Now, all I want to know is why my child one day decided to take his life. And that's the same for all of us. And I think that's a perfectly humane question as a parent to say, what happened to our children?
In relation to this particular challenge, you'll heard Giles Derrington saying there that it predates TikTok, that there had been a ban on the search term before these children died. There was no evidence of it trending on the platform. Do you accept
My
that?
understanding is that there was leaked documents from TikTok that said they acknowledged there was this viral challenges on their platform that were harmful. I can't remember exactly when they said that, but there are some. To say they've never had a record of it, I absolutely want to say rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. It's been on their platform and people know that. And I'm pretty certain there's proof. I can't reference it right now.
Okay.
But
that's something we'll have to take back to TikTok as well and get their response on. It's unbelievably, unimaginably traumatic and stressful what you and the other families have been through.
Yes.
How much more so is that then sort of heightened because of this kind of brick wall you seem to come up against while trying to get answers?
It's horrific. Losing a child in any circumstance must be horrific, but we just don't understand why. Why all 4 of our children, which seemed perfectly normal, had no mental health issues that anybody was aware of, suddenly one day we find them not breathing. It's I just can't, as parents, we can't grieve properly. I don't understand why one day my perfectly normal child was no longer breathing. It's hard, very hard.
Well, Ellen, I know that many parents will fully back your mission to try and get to the bottom of this, and we'll follow the case with great interest. And as we have been doing, we'll continue to try and engage with social media platforms as well to answer some of these questions that lots of parents would like answered too. So thank you very much for talking to us this morning.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Ellen Room, she's the mum of Jules Sweeney. He was 14 when he died. Just a bit of clarity on what YouTube said to Ellen. So we have also approached them for comment. We haven't heard back from them yet, but their website does say some data is deleted automatically. Some is then retained for longer periods of time, and that might be because of security, fraud and abuse prevention. But that data might also be anonymised. And just a reminder what TikTok told us, that they wanted to help the families, but access to data was really complicated because of their obligation to remove data quickly. It's 8:24.